What's up, guys? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of our videos. Also, make sure you follow us all over social media so you don't miss any of our content or show announcements.
I think Orlando looked at Indiana and thought, why not us? I mean, they don't have a guy that scores over 20. Banchero could be first team All NBA next year. So I think when I watch Indiana, I think they're encouraging. They've got young ascending players. They've kind of meshed together in the East, and you're like, okay, it was one thing when Boston was winning with a stacked roster. Indiana? Why can't I think I said it during the Boston-Orlando series. I'm like, man, they're about a year away from being really, really good. So I think Indiana is one of those teams that may not make it back. And it may just be lightning in a bottle. I really like him a lot. But I think OKC is historically special defensively, and we're seeing it.
Yeah, the East to me feels wide open in a different way, where I agree with you. Like the Boston was like this clear number one out East. But then you had this like group of 3-4 teams that you knew were going to be in the mix, Milwaukee, New York. That was the mix that we knew was going to be at the top. But now with Boston kind of dropping out of that group, it does feel wide open. Like Cleveland is very good, but everyone knows they're beatable. Like the Bucks will be there if Giannis is still there, but like we know that they're beatable. The Knicks, we know that they have their flaws and their issues. They have a front court that you can attack defensively. And I think what the Pacers have demonstrated in a lot of ways is that you can, outkick your coverage, so to speak, in terms of the talent on your roster when there is a great deal of the coaching that maximizes the talent. But the second piece is from a general management perspective, like actual complementary pieces that fit and accentuate each other. And that to me is what I look at with the Desmond Bane trade. Because like your initial reaction when you see that sort of thing is to go 4 first-round picks unprotected. Like, my goodness, that's a steep paycheck. And like, I get that on the surface, and ultimately whether or not that ends up being worthwhile will be whether or not this team has success. And if they have success, they make the finals, no one's going to care about those 4 first-round picks. It's about whether or not this pays off. Right. And Desmond Bane is a perfectly complementary player to what those two guys do. He is one of the best jump shooters in the NBA. Among 58 players this year to attempt at least 500 jumpers, he ranked 12th in efficiency. By the way,
and
Colin,
the Magic couldn't shoot last year. That's what they couldn't do.
Shoot. They couldn't shoot. By the way, you want to know who was number 1 on that list? Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is still the best jump shooter in the NBA. I thought that was interesting when I was digging into the data. But he specifically shot 60% from the field on shot attempts coming off of off-ball screens. So when he comes running off of action, off the ball, he knocks it down at an extremely high rate. He shot 52% on threes, specifically coming off of off-ball screens.
Wow.
The Magic could not create space for Paolo and Franz. That was the problem. The Desmond Bane in Memphis, they so desperately needed him to hit shots because he was their secondary shot creator. It was a little bit too much for him. But in this setting, next to Franz, next to Paolo, it's more important for him to be able to create openings for them. His ability to shoot on the move, shoot out of screens, shoot off the dribble, specifically in the context of Franz and Paolo, you're going to get it's a force multiplier rather than a diminishing return. And that really is the key. Like when I'm looking at talent, it's like they could have gone and got Bradley Beal, and maybe that's a player that you think is maybe a higher regarded player in the league or something like that. Desmond Bane's talent fits perfectly with those guys in a wide open conference. And that's a huge, big, strong team that should be able to cause a lot of damage with their physicality. And the last thing I'll say about it, Colin, Desmond is not the best defender in the world, but he's pretty solid. Jalen Suggs is the best guard defender in the world. And so he will never have to guard the best guard on the other team. He's going to be in favorable matchups. He's going to be surrounded by physicality. His skill set perfectly matches what Franz and Paolo do. I think it was a type of swing that could legitimately put them in the finals. And Colin, you're the one who's always preaching this on your show. Yes, it was expensive. So was Kawhi for the Raptors in 2019.
That's right.
At a certain point, you got to push your chips in the middle if you want to try to win.
Well, and I think Orlando looks at it and thinks, listen, Bane's like 25 or 26 years old. It's like Oklahoma City. You don't have this aged star. You don't have this one gigantic paycheck. It's like everybody's pulling in the same direction. Like they bring in Hartenstein. He's a starter, but like kind of a role player, but great energy, and everybody welcomes him in. Like everybody that like Bane, I was watching the videos today when he got to Orlando. The guys were like, it's just like well, he's one of the guys. He's a young guy who, by the way, because he was in Memphis behind Ja Morant, probably didn't get appreciated a lot or a lot of attention. And Bane was the more mature player, the more consistent player, the more available player, and the better shooter. But Ja Morant's great for highlights, so Bane gets overlooked, but not by smart GM. So Bane's probably like, okay, now I get into a more, this is, I mean, Suggs is a Gonzaga guy, Banchero a Duke guy, Wagner's a Michigan guy. Like these are grown-ups. They're ready to play. And I think we talked about this in the Boston series. It was like 2 or 3 times you and I were like, why the hell is this series so competitive? Like Orlando can't shoot. Boston takes the most. We should have some blowouts. And we didn't. The games were really competitive. We felt that way about the Knicks and the Pistons too. It's like, God, Cade Cunningham's really graduated to another class. And so I liked it. I also just aggressive wins. Go get KD in Golden State. The Lakers, trade for Gasol, trade for Shaq, take big swings.
Trade for AD.
Absolutely. Porzingis and Drew Holiday, Boston. Like you have to take swings in this league because you're not going to be able to bank these stars. You're not going to have the Heatles. You're not going to have KD to the Warriors. So what you're going to do is can you get a group of really good B+, A- guys that all fit? And Orlando fits. Bane literally fits perfectly with a team. Yeah, it'd be better if it was 2 firsts, not 4. But those are going to be low first-round picks anyway. So I can live with it.
And there's like the splitting the difference 2 timelines approach comes with its own shortcomings. Like obviously Golden State was very fortunate on the strength of Steph to win in 2022, but they've been paying the price for not cashing in on some of their assets over the course of the last few years. I feel like Dallas is kind of staring down the barrel of a similar type of situation. Like you got to capitalize on the value that AD brings to the table if you want to have sustained success around Cooper Flag. And like I just look at it as just an aggressive move that fits perfectly. Desmond Bane has grown a lot too as a passer coming off of screening actions, and I look at that as something like a simple dynamic in the NBA that can cause all sorts of problems. Is if you can run a 2-man game where they don't want to switch. And the problem is when Franz and Paolo are together, they get guarded by similar players, big, strong forwards.
Yep.
And with Jalen Suggs, he never shot the ball well enough for teams to really account for him in those actions. If you, as Desmond Bane, as one of the best shooters in the league, come flying off of a screen with Paolo, you have no choice but to either switch or to show, in which case Paolo will get better matchups. He'll get more smalls to attack. He'll get more openings to attack. I think it's just a really, really smart fit.